I'm going to call this meeting to order, and if you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we begin our agenda, I have a message from the city manager, Drew Sanders.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. I just had a quick announcement, especially for those who are trying to view us on YouTube. We are having technical difficulties. You're likely seeing a flashing screen. If anything, sorry about that. Please bear with us. You should have audio without trouble, but we're working on the problem, but there's very little we can do. Right now, it's a hardware problem that we need to replace equipment, and we're struggling with that. So please bear with us.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Drew. Our apologies to the public. The first item is a consent agenda. Listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. Either the public or a council member may request an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time prior to council's vote. The mayor will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Approval of the January 11th, 2022 work session agenda minutes. Approval of the expenditure list for January 25, 2022 City Council meeting. Approval of the renewal fermented malt beverage liquor license for Safeway Stores 46 Incorporated. DBA Safeway Store number 1892, located at 1580 East Main Street, Cortez. D, approval of tastings permit and renewal liquor license for West Slope Liquors, DBA West Slope Liquors, located at 2212 East Main Street, Suite number 1, Cortez. E, approval of a renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license for Lakeside Lanes, DBA Lakeside Lanes, located at 410 Lakeside Drive, Cortez. And the November 2021 financial statements by Kelly Koski, Finance Director.
Mr. Mayor,
okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, but I'd also like to make one change to our agenda, moving item 7D, the recruitment process for upcoming city attorney vacancy, to an executive session as it relates to a contract negotiation.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Medina.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item is citizen participation. 6 citizens will be allotted time to address council. No member of the public shall comment more than once at any meeting, nor shall any person be seated at the time of another commenter. Comments may be limited to 4 minutes per person. Please comment on items not listed as public hearing. Council may or may not respond to comments. Are there anyone in the audience wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to public hearings. The first item on the agenda is ordinance number 1294, series 2022. Mike Green, City Attorney.
Good evening, Council. This is the second reading and public hearing for a partial update of the marijuana code. Basically, it's going to allow for non-resident ownership of marijuana licensed facilities in the city, and it's going to allow for walk-up windows as well. This has been in response to some inquiries from the licensed businesses in town, and it's also been run by staff, and there does not appear to be any issues with it. Staff would recommend passage and approval after public hearing and second reading. And if you have any questions, I'm available.
Any questions from council? Can I have a motion on this item? Oh, we open the floor. Open this public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Okay. Now, can I have a motion on the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve on second reading ordinance number 1294, Series 2022, an ordinance amending the Cortez medical and retail marijuana codes to provide for out-of-state ownership and walk-up windows.
Second.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Kefauver.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. The next public hearing is ordinance number 1295, Series 2022. Drew Sanders, City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is second reading of ordinance number 1295, Series 2022, effectively creating a Community and Economic Development Department. As a reminder, this would fold in our building department, our planning function, and our events and public outreach function, as well as combine that with a Community and Economic Development function. Staff recommends that this be passed, and so that we can start that as early as next Monday.
Thank you. Since this is a public hearing, are there anyone in the audience wishing to speak for or against this? Seeing none, I'll close that open presentation period. Can I have a motion on the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 1295, Series 2022, approving on second reading an ordinance creating a Community and Economic Development Department for the City of Cortez.
Second.
Dobry.
Aye.
Kefauver.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Medina.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes.
Sorry. Regarding the now Community Economic Development Department, could one of the first tasks be to start planning for, oh my gosh, the comprehensive plan, or the going into 2022, I guess?
Yeah, that is some of the first items. After we get things folded in together, yes, that is a major part of what we're working towards.
Great. Good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item under new business is an application for an out-of-city water tap and pre-annexation agreement at 11765 Highway 145, Cortez, as requested by Sean M. and Cynthia S. Miller. Rich Landreth?
Good evening again.
Good evening, Rich.
Mayor and City Council members. What you have before you is an application for an out-of-city water tap and pre-annexation agreement. These are documents that are required for an out-of-city water tap. This is a piece of property that's been divided. The house that sits on one of the lots currently has water supplied by the city. The new owners would like to be supplied by the city also. I contacted Montezuma Water Company, and they have no problem. Matter of fact, they don't even have water lines in that area, so we recommend approval.
Okay. Thank you, Rich.
I have a question. Do we have a threshold or like limit of how many of those we can do along that stretch?
Well, we have kind of a large supply there. They tap into our main lines coming into the city. Before our PR. Actually, this one's after one of our PRV stations, but they're large lines. There's no problem serving that area.
Okay, that's great, because it seems like that naturally is going to increase in density and eventually be annexed. You know, probably not in the next 10 years, but eventually.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Can I have a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application for a 3/4 inch out-of-city water tap and pre-annexation and pre-annexation agreement for the property located at 11765 Highway 145, submitted by Sean M. and Cynthia S. Miller, with the stipulation that the applicants install an approved backflow prevention device.
Second.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Kefauver,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 5, series 2022. Presenter, Drew Sanders.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is Resolution 5, Series 2022. This is my request as your city manager to add 2 additional holiday observances for the city of Cortez. A week ago yesterday was Martin Luther King / Civil Rights Day. And to my surprise, we do not observe that as a city. My concern is that I'm not really sure what that says about us or the message that delivers not only to our employees, but to our community on our commitment to civil rights. So therefore, I'm made the request that we add this to our official list of observances. While we have the books open, I'm also requesting, and this was a longer term plan for me, but since we have the books open, let's address it now. The addition of what I would term as a floating holiday for employees. Just to add them one more competitive thing we can do as an employer that costs us virtually nothing. And this would be something they could use at their leisure throughout the year, especially people like our police officers who work 24/7, or dispatchers, or employees that could use, say, like a July 4th celebration landed on a Thursday or something, they could use that. So I am recommending that the City Council support and pass resolution number 5.
Thank you, Drew.
I just had one question about the floating holiday. Those wouldn't be banked, is that correct? Like you have to use it within the calendar year, is that how that would operate?
Yeah, Councilmember Dobry, that is absolutely correct. Under our policy, you have to use all of your holidays during the year. There is no cash value should you leave the city employee.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Just, I think this is a great idea to, show support for employees and help that work-life balance, so.
Thank you, Councilmember.
And I think it's a good idea to celebrate MLK Day and civil rights. It's an issue that's been long overlooked in our community. Okay, can I have a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 5, series 2022, a resolution altering city policy contained in the employee handbook, creating additional holiday observances in the city of Cortez.
Second.
Kefauver,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda for new business is the intergovernmental agreement with the Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder, Linda Smith.
Good evening, Council. This is the next phase in our election process. This is the intergovernmental agreement that we sign with the county clerk. It outlines the duties that we are going to complete in this agreement and the duties that she will complete for us, including counting the ballots. She'll provide the judges for the election. She provides endless amount of support for us. So I would recommend to council that we approve this intergovernmental agreement so that we can get everything planned with the county clerk's office.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
I don't have any.
Can I have a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder regarding the municipal election to be held on Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, and authorize the mayor to sign said agreement.
Second.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kefauver,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The recruitment process for the attorney has been postponed We'll skip on to the item number E, request for council direction in regards to administration of the city use tax. Drew Sanders, City Manager.
Yes, Mayor and Council, as most of you know, this has been a topic of conversation lately, and I will admit that I'm one of them, that I've had some confusion over this and did not understand what this is, but there's been some vocal community members about this, and I think now is the time to educate all of us on this, so we know what the use tax is, what it's for, where it goes, and so on, to dispel some of the rumors and misunderstanding out there. So just as a general overview, and I will say this is from our lawyer to make sure that I'm on the right track here, as a general overview of use taxes, it's really essentially a tax on anything purchased outside the city valued over $1,000, and it's essentially an extension of a sales tax. So for instance, were you to go to Farmington and buy a $1,500 refrigerator, by code you are supposed to come back, report to the finance director, and worry about paying the sales tax on that value of that item. Most of us don't do that. But we do, if you own a car, most likely pay that tax to the county and the state. For instance, if you were to buy a car there, that automatically comes in as part of your registration. So that gives us a basis to start on with the use tax for surrounding development. So under our current code, we assess a 2.02 sales tax or a use tax upon 50% of the valuation of a construction project valued in excess of $10,000. So what that really means is we do it on 50% of the value because it's assumed that the other 50% is labor. So we don't charge a tax on that. This is just materials. By ordinance, we collect that in advance as part of our building permitting process. It does go into the general fund. It's a sales tax essentially on those materials. And just like other sales tax, it goes into the general fund. And just for reference sake, the city of Cortez, we collected $142,949.87 in fiscal year 21. So here's the process. Once paid, we issue what's called a certificate of exemption, meaning you're now tax exempt on those materials. It does relieve the builder from paying sales tax on construction materials at retail, which, by the way, is a benefit because were you to go pay for that at retail on, say, like Durango, you're going to pay the full sales tax over there versus a 2.02. By the way, we have verified that this is accepted at all Home Depots company-wide, including online orders. There is a process for that. They accept our certificate, and it's actually pretty simple to do. Now, builders must maintain records of what they're doing, keep all the receipts and so on, and by code, at the end of that, they're supposed to come in and be audited and basically have a reconciliation with our finance director or the finance department. Now, we have not been doing this, and honestly, before this subject came up, we didn't know we were even supposed to do it. So now we know. But when our research here, when we talked to other municipalities and counties on the west slope, what we found is that over the last 4 or 5 years, all of them are reporting that almost always you have to come in with some more tax. But we're not doing that at the moment. Then if by chance during that auditing process, if the builder somehow overpaid, then there is a process for them to get reimbursed in the way of a refund. So I don't know if you all can read this very well, and I'm sorry the public can't see this, but what this is just a matrix of how we compare to others. So essentially, we are cheaper than everybody else on the western slope. So we come in at 2.025, and we collect ours in advance. City of Delta, they're 3%. They also collect theirs in advance. Now, the City of Durango, they do it a little bit different. They tax you at 1.5%, but on the value of the entire project. So if you were to take that and apply it to us, it's 3%. They also collect in advance. Mesa County is a little bit different. They do 2% of all total purchases collected monthly. That's the only real deviation we found. City of Fruta, 3% of the full retail price of the construction collected in advance. Now Fruta, just for reference sake, they not only charge a use tax, they charge an impact fee on top of it. So I think they're really trying to limit growth. Then the City of Rifle, very similar to us, and 2.21, and also collected in advance. So we are right in line. In fact, we're cheaper, and building the City of Cortez under our current structure, you don't get, you're not even really probably paying a full tax to us. Now, there's an additional tax that we also discovered as part of this. Now, this is on construction equipment. The code states that, and this was not previously known, and nor have we been doing this, but this city ordinance authorizes the city staff to collect a use tax on construction equipment valued over $2,500 that is located in the city for 30 days or more on your construction site. Now, what's supposed to happen is builders come in with an equipment declaration. They also meet with the finance department, and applicable taxes are assessed at that time. I don't even know the last time this was done, so just for reference sake. And nor did we actually find this with other municipalities and counties. So with this, I just thought I'd take a second and just try to dispel some myths here. It's been said that charging a use tax equates to a double taxation. That is incorrect. Certificate of exemption is issued with every building permit, and it is honored by retailers. We have verified that, and it protects them from a sales tax, and we still have in our code a process for a refund should the builder be able to show us documentation they were overcharged. Here's another myth. No one else charges a use tax. Well, I think we've already dispelled that. So across this state, it's actually rather common, and you know, it's a tool for municipalities to collect that tax they ordinarily wouldn't. So staff does have some recommendations for council that should you give us the nod and want us to head this direction, we are more than happy to do so. Our recommendation, or mine is, leave the existing use tax in place. We're lower than everybody else. We're collecting like we should. Leave it where it's at. We don't have a need for more right now. Number two, explore the possibility of renewing the completion audit process so that we can make sure that a full tax on the entire set is assessed in all fairness. And number three, since we do not really work the construction equipment tax, I would like to suggest to council that you consider repealing that portion. That's all I have, Mayor. Open for questions.
Thank you, Drew. Any questions on?
Do we have the staff capacity in finance department to go back and do that audit process for projects? I mean, and is it worth the money that it would bring in? And if construction companies are supposed to keep records for 3 years, does that mean it gives us 3 years to go back and audit?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Potentially. We haven't been doing that.
Okay.
I think I would recommend continuing to do things as we have been doing them, not renewing the audit process at the moment. And I do think we should repeal the ordinance on the construction equipment. It doesn't make sense for us to keep an ordinance that we're not following at the moment. And I don't think we should add that as an additional tax.
I totally agree.
I agree also.
Could we revisit the audit process after we've finished the other auditing process?
We could, and again, it gets down to priorities, you know, and what are we hoping to get? Right now, we're not really in a tax crunch. We're doing just fine with what we've got. Honestly, we're looking at cutting taxes slightly. So is the juice worth the squeeze? Right now, I would say probably not. What we need is finance to do what finance does best, and that's get us out of trouble with our audits.
Okay, thanks.
Well, and also one of the things we talked about in the workshop is about incentivizing, and a use tax rebate or something along those lines could be one of the tools that we end up using there. So I think that's something that we could always look at in the future.
Okay, so do we just make a motion then to repeal this ordinance of the construction equipment?
No, we will come to you with an official request to appeal.
Okay.
What we need is just basically kind of council consent to spend staff time to go do that. So we will come back to you on that at some point, so.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
I agree with Robert on that, to continue on now and not go with that audit process, just continue working now that the things are going, and then come back with your proposal. Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
We'll make a vote on this? Yeah. Well, yeah, we're giving.
No, sir, there's no need for a
Yeah,
vote.
yeah,
Okay.
we're just allowing, the council will provide direction to the staff on the city use tax.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that covers the agenda items. Next item would be the city manager report.
I think you guys have heard just about enough from me tonight, but I'll proceed, so,
Okay.
Mayor and Council.
Yeah.
So here's the most current events that we're working on in the city. Just want to announce that the U.S. Department of Transportation, and you guys have all heard and received some communication from our airport manager, Jeremy Patton, about this. Just to let you know that is proceeding. We have 2 viable candidates for that. And I'm not going to list the names at the moment because I'm not sure if it's proper. But either way, Airport Manager Patton and Finance Director Kelly Koski are preparing a public comment section on our ClearGov site where people can weigh in on what they'd like to see from our next DAS. And also more to come because at least 2 of them want to come in and do council presentations. I will communicate with council on that because it's honestly going to be outside of the scope of the meeting in here for a workshop. So I will communicate with you. Possibly in 2 weeks is when we need the first iteration of that. So you'll hear more from me. I wanted to report in that the road project on North Mildred Street will start next month. Also, the road rebuild on Sligo Street that is not scheduled to start until school lets out, in order to minimize conflicts with the high school traffic. As a reminder, South Sligo Street, that's going to be a total rebuild. They're going to have to doze the whole thing and start over. So just be aware of that. And also, just you've already been notified a little bit earlier tonight, but the HVAC and roof project for the library, as Rick Smith has really worked hard to try to get a contractor to take the job. Not only do we have supply chain problems, but we have desire to take our job problems. And so he is still working on that. We could get some traction as early as this fall. We're really probably looking at fiscal year 23. So, and then the city of Cortez, led by efforts of our Rick Smith, he put together a regional broadband meeting that put together a lot of different providers and folks that are ISPs, but also actual fiber contractors and builders. And it was nice to get everybody together here and talk about common problems. And also Rick has got them working on the possibility of getting connection along the Highway 160 corridor here in South Colorado. So we're really pleased and proud of Rick for his efforts there, and we seem to be making some progress for our county. Also, I'd just like to point out to council that it was my privilege to participate in a community forum with the local League of Women Voters a week ago this past Saturday. I was invited along with my counterparts from Mancos, Dolores, and Montezuma County. It seems that we were well received. It really felt good to share what's going well with the city of Cortez with that group, and I'm glad that I work at a place that fosters those kind of activities. So then I'd like to do an employee highlight. This will be on Randy Hunt, our senior water treatment plant operator. He was nominated by Interim Public Works Director Rich Landreth. Randy started work with the City of Cortez Public Works Department in 2006 as part-time maintenance worker. He then worked as a building maintenance worker for 2 years before transferring to the Public Works Department as a full-time operator. In July 2013, he moved to his present home at the water treatment plant. During his time at the water treatment plant, he has studied and tested his way up to a Class A water treatment plant operator license, which is very much in demand and very, very useful to us as a city. Recently, Randy has taken on additional responsibilities when our Rich Landreth accepted the position of Interim Director of Public Works, and Randy took on the responsibilities and essentially been running the water plant and that crew since Rich took over as Interim Public Works Director. So we're very proud of Randy, and he's grown and we've benefited. So in his off time, Randy enjoys off-roading, hunting, and fishing. He's a true Coloradan. So anyway, that's all I have, Mayor and Council.
Okay. Thank you, Drew. We'll move on to the committee report, City Council committee reports. I'll give a short report on the workshop just before this agenda, before the regular agenda. We had an introduction of the new Parks and Recreation Director, Creighton Wright. We had a presentation by members of city boards, including Gulf Advisory Board member at large Sam Jarvis, Library Advisory Board member Karen Sheik, Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Advisory Board George Tripp, the chairman, the Cortez Youth Commission Recreation Supervisor Rosa Diamond. We had an update on the by the interim Public Works Director Rich Landreth on the status of the hydroelectric plant. We had a discussion by Doug Roth, the GIS coordinator, who will explain the HUTF inventory, which stands for Highway Users Tax Fund. We had a council discussion on the possible declaration of housing emergency. I attended the Library Advisory Board last week, and Karen Sheik pretty much covered all the items that were covered on the advisory board meeting. We discussed measuring of the carpeting, and we're planning on using carpet squares to make it easier to repair high-use carpet areas. The Hvac idea or plan is on hold right now. The furniture will soon be ordered for the library. Let's see, the checkout item or the checkout program is going to be ordered. We're expecting spring delivery, and it's a pretty neat addition to our library. Let's see, the library is no longer charging fines on overdue books. They've done a study and find out that it's not cost effective to charge fines, that we'd rather have the books and eliminate, whatever reasons that people refuse or are reluctant to return their books when they're overdue. We had our meeting at the conference room, which is also repurposed as maker's space, and includes a sewing machine that can be loaned out, arts equipment, and other items. The mask mandate is going okay. There's been very little reluctance for people to be required to wear masks in the in the library. So that pretty much covers the Library Advisory Board meeting that I had last week. Are there any other council committee reports?
I'll make one.
Okay.
Mine is for Mesa Verde Country. So we met on January 12th. We had our president of the board resign for employment opportunities. So we sworn in Justin Vasserling as our new president of the Mesa Verde Tourism Board. We approved the financials of 2021. We approved the budget for 2022. We heard the Mesa Verde Park update for 2022. So their road project will resume in the spring. The intent is for Cliff Palace to be open by mid-June, and Mesa Top Loop will be closed when Cliff Palace opens for that road work. Ranger-assisted tours for Cliff Palace are tentatively set for July, and there will be limited ranger led tours of Balcony House, and then the museum will remain closed with ranger stations outside to answer questions. And then the visitor center saw more visitors in 2021 than they did in 2019 before the pandemic. So people are definitely coming and visiting here. Despite a lot of Mesa Verde being closed last year, they're still coming and finding things to do in our community, which is great. I think that's it for my report there.
I have a brief report from the Historic Preservation Board. The chair and vice chair were nominated as they are for their new terms, and that is Patricia Lacey and Linda Toll, respectively. And there was some discussion about the Colorado State Historic Fund survey planning grant that the council has already heard about. And then also the Historic Preservation Board received a $200 grant from CREA for Historic Preservation Day, which is in May. So planning is ongoing for that. That's all I got.
Thank you, Robert. Are there any other committee reports?
I have a brief report on the Public Arts Committee. They had a meeting with the city manager and Barbara, or Mrs. Sharps, the librarian, who is the liaison, and we are going through a period of reorganization at this point. So,
okay, thank you. Okay, any other committee reports? Okay. Under other items of business, the council is going to adjourn to executive session now for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators under CRS Section 24-6-402 4E. Discussion will be held on the Cortez Community Network and the Refuse Department. Council will adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of real, personal, and other property interest under CRS Section 24-6-402 4A. Council will discuss a possible land transfer or sale. Also, council will adjourn to executive session for discussion of a personnel matter under CRS Section 24-6-402 4F and and not involving any specific employees who have requested discussion of the matter in open session, any member of this body or elected official, the appointment of any person to fill an office of this body or an elected official, or personnel policies that do not require discussion of matter personnel to particular employees. Council will discuss strategy on replacement of retiring city attorney. So we're going to adjourn for the executive session now. We will return.
We'll have to have a vote, Mr. Mayor. But I just had one question for our attorney. The council will discuss strategy on replacement of retiring city attorney. Does that cover 7D that we moved to the executive session? Because that's part of it. Or 7D was, council will consider authorizing the city manager to retain Columbia LTD to recruit, to complete a recruitment process for our next city attorney for the city of Cortez. Or do we need to, I'm asking, do we need to add?
To be safe, I think you should add the 7B from the agenda to this, because I'm not sure what the discussion about the city attorney, if it covers that or not.
Okay.
That's a contract negotiation,
Okay.
really not setting parameters on hiring an attorney.
It's actually a separate matter, council member, mayor. I would suggest we do just for safety's sake.
Okay. Well, I will make a motion that we adjourn to executive session. Do I need to reread all of the reasons that the mayor just read? Okay. For the reasons that the mayor just read, as well as 7D for the recruitment process for the city attorney position.
Second.
Rainey.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Sorry. Medina.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you. We will now adjourn. Okay, ready? Okay, the time is now 10:01 PM, and the executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive sessions were Mike Green, Rick Smith, Drew Sanders, Robert Dobry, Rachel Medina, Matt Kiefhofer, Arlena Yazzie, Orly Lucero, David Rainey, and myself. The subjects of the executive session were discussion on the Cortez Community Network, the Refuse Department, discussion on the possible land transfer or sale, discussion on strategy on replacement of retiring city attorney, and discussion on an agency to search for a city attorney. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into the executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is adjournment.
We've got a, I'll make a
Yes.
motion.
Yes.
We're going to go back to 7D.
Okay.
And I will make a motion to authorize the city manager to retain Columbia LTD to complete a recruitment process for our next city attorney, for the next city attorney for the city of Cortez.
Second.
Medina,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhofer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for your attendance. Drive carefully and be kind to each other.